that was supposed to be what they were doing up there. I literally hate what Scott says. She's like, you're not allowed to say my husband takes his ring off when your husband is the one ass grabbing. I need this to end. Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about The Valley Season 2, Episode 11. The first half of this episode is really just a lot of setup for the cast dynamics going into Hawaii. Like, these first couple scenes, we have Luke and Kristen eating in their new house, and Luke is saying that their new house is changing his perspective on living in LA a little bit, because you know his dream is for like he and Kristen to move back to Colorado and have like a ranch or a farm or whatever. And then Kristen in the confessional is like, you know, LA has been my home for 20 years, but I've never pictured myself raising a family in LA. And it's so interesting, as somebody who is from LA, born and raised in the Valley, it's always so interesting when I hear people say that, because like, LA, just because it's a big city and like, yeah, sure, we have like kind of high crime rates, just like any big city really, like, it doesn't mean that it's a bad place to raise your kids. It's always so interesting to me when I hear people say like, oh, I would never ever raise a family in LA, or oh, I would never ever raise a family in New York. It's like a city, from my perspective, from somebody who grew up in a big city, it's not a bad place to grow up. And like, I get it, you know, Kristen is from Michigan. I think Luke is from Colorado, maybe. I get that people just are more comfortable with what they're familiar with. And everybody thinks like where they grew up is like the best place to grow up. Like, my boyfriend is from Michigan too. He's from Detroit. And he's always like, oh, there's nothing like a childhood in Michigan. Like, you can't get that in LA. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's a different environment, but that doesn't make it bad. I don't know, whenever I hear people say that, like, oh, I would never ever raise kids in LA, it's like, I don't know, I grew up here and I was surrounded by so many different cultures. I had access to so many different, like, art forms. Like, I could go see theater, I could go to museums, I could see so many movies in the theater, because so many movies come out like early or limited access in LA and New York, and that was really cool. All of the best theatrical productions come to like the Amundsen, and what is the one downtown, or the one in Hollywood, like they just come to all of these different theaters. I could see so many concerts. Like, it's really not bad. I don't know, just when you hear people say that, just know that it's not a bad childhood growing up in LA. It's pretty cool. The Pantages, that's the one in Hollywood. That was the other theater I was thinking of. Nia and Danny go on a double date with Zach and Benji. I don't know, I feel like from Benji, I'm sort of getting like Melissa vibes from when Jasmine first introduced Melissa to everybody. Like, Zach is so excited to have moved in with Benji, but I feel like Benji is really hard to read. At least on camera, they really don't seem to have a lot of chemistry. But I also think that, like, I probably thought the same thing about Melissa, and I just think Benji, like, does not care to be on this show. I'm sure it makes him a little uncomfortable, and he's just doing it because it makes Zach happy. But yeah, he's just really hard to read. Like, their vibe is very like, he's so excited and happy to be there, and he's just kind of like super, super calm. But we'll see. Maybe he'll come out of his shell more when they go to Hawaii. Nia tells Zach that she knows that he knows that Luke is gonna propose to Kristen in Hawaii, and Zach is just like, yeah, I figured it out because Luke was acting really weird and I just put two and two together. She tells Zach that he should be the one who invites Janet and Jason to the trip, because Nia and Danny are right now pretending like it's their trip, and she was like, if it was actually my trip, I would not invite Janet and Jason. So that's the plan right now. Zach is coming on board to help plan this whole thing out. Zach FaceTimes Kristen and Luke at the table and invites them to Hawaii.
So since we're all together, I know we were talking about taking like an into the summer trip, and we wanted to do Hawaii.
We're going to Maui, baby.
Yeah, woo!
Oh, right now. Back right now.
Bye, guys. Team engagement.
That's right.
MVP by proxy. Yay! Engagement.
So then the guys all meet up at Jesse's house to meet up with that damn life coach. He, at this point, the life coach, is practically a friend of on this show. Scott, we all know his name. He is such like I think he's Jesse's life coach / friend, because he always pops up everywhere. Honestly, I think Scott should go to Hawaii. I think fuck it. I think they need Scott in Hawaii. So then Scott told Jesse that he's like part of a men's group and only men can understand what other men are going through, which is like, I heard that and I was like, is that true? Can only men understand what another man is going through? I mean, I think like this is talked about so much. Men have such a hard time developing deep friendships with other men. So it's like, do I think that only a man is able to sympathize and empathize with another man and women can't? No, I don't think that. But you know, anything that encourages men to be honest with one another and to go deeper in their friendship than just a general, like, we watch the same sports teams and we all like going out to drink at the same spots, that makes me happy. So you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, like, sure, let's do this. This whole scene is very like LA woo woo. Like, this is Luke in the after show is talking about like what the hell is going on. Like, we do not do this type of stuff where I'm from. Scott has like everybody huddle up like in a little circle before they all sit down, and he just gives this speech that's like, no matter our differences, we're all brothers. And all the guys are like, yeah, sure. And then they all sit down to talk. And Jax, first of all, thank God, I was so scared. He says he's not going to Maui. Literally, thank God. Maui is the last place that man needs to be. He's like, I'm going through a really tough time right now. Divorce, separation, everything's gone. First of all, he said this in literally like every single episode. Everything's gone. My wife has taken my son away from me. Your son is literally still there. You just have to reach out to Brittany and ask to see him. And Brittany has said over and over, he has not reached out and asked to see Cruz. Your son is there. I don't like, he thinks that Brittany has like, or he acts like Brittany has taken Cruz to a third location and is like keeping him there and not allowing him to speak with him, and he's not allowed to come over and visit. And Brittany's like, you can literally see him whenever you want. It's not up to me to reach out to you to coordinate a visit. The phone works both ways. Literally just call Brittany and be like, I want to see Cruz. And so then Scott has all of the guys like call one another up. They can choose somebody who they have beef with. And then once they both stand up, the first guy has to like put his hand on their chest and say something that's been bothering him and be like, oh, you did this to me and it made me feel like this. And then the other guy, I think, like, isn't allowed to respond or defend or anything. They just have to be like, okay. And then we watch so many of the guys do it. Jesse calls Luke up and he's like, with your blind loyalty towards your girlfriend, it made me feel hurt. And he's like referencing the big fight that they had at the end of season 1 when Kristen was like going ballistic, accusing Michelle of cheating, and like Jesse almost punched Luke in the face. He's like, it made me want to be aggressive and I am willing to let it go. That speech, when he was like, oh, your blind loyalty to your girlfriend made me want to be aggressive, but I'm willing to let it go. There was no like real accountability for your actions. There was no, he could have at least said like, it made me want to be aggressive and that was inappropriate and I should not have done that and I'm sorry. He never says that. He just goes, oh, I'm willing to let it go. Like, oh, I'm doing this for you. Like, you're lucky I'm willing to let it go. And I was just looking at Scott and being like, oh, is that the point of this? Like, is that, because Jesse's just essentially going up to Luke being like, yeah, it was all your fault, but that's okay, I forgive you. I don't know if that was supposed to be what they were doing up there. Then Jax has Scott stand in for whoever he's talking to, and he immediately pretends to be holding back tears. Whenever Jax is crying on this show, there are no tears coming out. He like forces himself to choke up, and he's like, I'm having a really rough time in my life right now, and I'm a very angry human being, and I take it out on everybody else, especially my wife, and I don't want to do that anymore. And then I literally hate what Scott says. He goes, people watch you and people love to see a redemption. That to me felt like Scott was basically just telling Jax how to produce himself on this show. He's essentially telling Jax like, hey, you're on TV. If you can show the people a redemption arc, they will love that. That felt like why is Scott should be saying like, fuck this show. Who cares about this show? The most important things right now are your ex-wife and your son. Those are the two people who you have obligations to right now. And he's not saying that. He's talking about how Jax is going to be perceived by other people, which is the only thing that Jax actually cares about. And it's so weird to see Scott like encourage that level of thinking. Why are you saying that? Who cares about what people love to see? It's all about like Jax's actions and Jack actually making a change for the sake of his son. It's not about the viewers of the Valley. Who gives a shit? Danny apologizes to Jason for talking shit about Janet at Brits. I feel like Danny, Janet, and Jason every episode are just apologizing to each other over and over. Like, haven't Danny and Jason already apologized to each other? It's like every episode we're just seeing like, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like, and then Danny has also been apologizing to Jasmine, which he of course needed to do. But it's like, there's just apologies going on with that group, like every single episode. I'm starting to get a little tired of it. And so then Jesse tells Scott kind of about this whole situation. And he's like, you know, Danny's drinking wasn't the problem. It was the hiding of the drinking that was the problem. And so then Scott talks to Danny about it. And I was kind of shocked. He basically gets Danny to admit that he has been hiding his drinking. And even Jason is kind of taken aback by this. And he's like, you know, I feel like Danny wasn't just admitting it to us, he was admitting it to himself. So it's like, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because hiding drinking is obviously a major sign of alcoholism. And I'm not in a place to like call anybody an alcoholic. Like, I don't know. I don't have any personal experience with that. But it's like Nia gets so upset when Janet insinuates that Danny might be an alcoholic. And it's like, even Danny is over here admitting that he's hiding his drinking. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nia feels about that, because she wants everything to just be this like perfect, like we're the perfect Christian family and I was Miss USA and I don't curse and everything in my life is perfect. So we'll see how she feels about that. All the girls go to lunch at El Coyote. This is the second time they've shown this place in this show, and I've never been there and I feel like I need to go. This is literally, because this is the same restaurant that that Janet and Jason and Michelle and Melissa met up at like literally 2 weeks ago. This restaurant has been on the show twice in the span of like 2 or 3 weeks. So I feel like I need to go. Nia in the confessional brings up how Janet is always in everybody's business, but nobody ever hears anything about her marriage. But literally like 2 weeks ago, wasn't this whole drama that like Jasmine, that Jasmine was spreading a rumor that Jason takes his ring off at bars? That was literally 2 weeks ago. So what do you mean you never hear anything about their marriage? There was just this huge rumor flying around 2 weeks ago. I will say though that Janet is definitely the type, because I feel like sometimes on this channel I come off as like a Janet defender. Like, I don't like anybody on the show, to be honest. I think they all suck. I'm gonna be honest with you. Normally on these shows, there's at least one person who I kind of gravitate towards. I think all of these people are bad. But like with Janet, she can dish it out and she cannot take it back. So I sort of understand what Nia's saying. Like, Janet is constantly in everybody's business, but as soon as things come up with her, it's like, how could you say that? And then she like kind of storms away. It's sort of similar to like, I think I've made this comparison before, like Cameron on Southern Charm. Like, the whole reason she left the show was because for like the first 5 seasons, she was observing and commenting on everybody else. And then once her marriage came under the spotlight, she was like, oh, no, I can't do this anymore. And then she left. Jasmine immediately almost starts ruining the surprise about Kristen's engagement. She's like going to Nia. She's like, oh, Zach told me that like something special is going to happen on this trip to Hawaii. And he like won't tell me what it is, but he's like, oh, there's going to be a big surprise in Hawaii. Kristen is literally sitting right next to her. And Nia's like, stop it, shut up. And Jasmine is like not getting it. It's like, part of me is like so frustrated at Jasmine, but then on the other hand, I'm like, Zach, why did you even say that to Jasmine? You're gonna ruin it. Like, that whole scene, I was like, guys, like, get it the fuck together. It's like, you could think, I don't know, it's like if it was me, I guess maybe Jasmine didn't even know that Luke was planning on proposing to Kristen. That was probably it. Because if I had known that Luke was planning on proposing to Kristen at some point, and then one of my friends was like, oh, there's gonna be a surprise on this group trip to Hawaii, my first thought would be, oh my God, Luke is proposing to Kristen in Hawaii. But I'm gonna give Jasmine the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna assume that she doesn't even know Luke has the ring. So then Michelle makes like an announcement to the table, and she's like, guys, I know that everybody's been talking about Aaron and who he slept with in the past. And then she points to Kristen specifically, and she's like, Kristen, just so you know, Aaron slept with Jenna in 2020. And Kristen's like, what the hell does this have to do with me? Like, Kristen is so confused because Michelle basically just assumed, I guess because Kristen and Jesse are kind of good friends, she just assumed that Kristen is the one who told Jesse, like, oh, by the way, like, Aaron hooked up with this girl back in 2020. And Kristen did not. And Zach in the confessional is like, hello, it was me. And see, this entire escalation of what happened at the table, this is really, it all points back to Michelle. Because you and Kristen have been fine. You've been cordial. Like, there's literally been nothing going on with you guys in, like, the last, like, 5 or so episodes. And now look what you started, because now Kristen is on the defensive. She's like, why the hell am I getting involved in this? I haven't done anything. And then Nia goes to Kristen and she goes, oh, it's because Michelle loves the drama. I haven't seen Nia explicitly come after Michelle in like a really long time, like probably not since season 1. So I was kind of surprised she went there. And then Janet just kind of starts getting activated for no reason. She's drunk. I mean, in the after show, she goes like, oh, I don't know what was in those margaritas. She starts getting so activated. And in the confessional, she's like, I'm just so sick of Kristen being ride or die for Nia for no reason. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of sick of that too. I'll get back to this in a second, but like there are a lot of like ride or die Nia and Danny lovers on the internet that I like really don't understand. But we'll get back to that in a second. Janet is just yelling in the restaurant, causing a scene.
Nia, get your to-go box.
Bye.
Why is Nia crying?
It's too intense.
Nia, why is it intense?
Why is it intense? Is that a real question?
Always tears when it's intense. Janet, that's you.
What a trash mouth you have.
Oh, we couldn't believe it.
I deserved every ounce of that you. It had nothing to do with her at the moment. Am I wrong?
I don't think it had anything that she was involved in. I think it was just overwhelming for her.
This was all just such a blatant attempt by Janet to get screen time. She's honestly been doing this all season, like getting activated in the middle of nowhere, causing fights. Like this is her kind of self-producing a little bit. And girl, why the hell is Nia crying? I'm sorry, like Nia is like really sweet. Like she seems like a very sweet woman, but like, God, she is so soft. I'm so sorry. She is so soft, and people like that bother me so much. I'll give her credit. In the after show, she talks about like, I'm weaning off breastfeeding. There's a lot of hormones going through me right now, and people are getting aggressive. So it's like, sure, I get it, but I just feel like, I don't know, she's so sensitive in a way that does sometimes bother me. I'm sorry. Nia just says fuck you to Janet and then leaves. And in the confessional, both she and Jasmine say that they miss the old Janet. So it's really interesting. Like it seems like they were once really, really close, and it makes me wonder like, what was the old Janet like? Like if there are pictures online of her hanging out with like the Kardashians. I don't really know what the connection is there, but I think her and Kim Kardashian used to be good-ish friends. I don't know. I guess she just used to be different. And then Janet's at the table. She's still yelling. She's like, you're not allowed to say my husband takes his ring off when your husband is the one ass grabbing. And it's like, oh God, I need Janet to just stop talking about the ass grabbing. Because it's like, yes, she's right. Like, Danny sucks. I think Danny is so icky, and I think he's just, like, really creepy and gross. But Danny has apologized to Jasmine, and it seems like they've buried the hatchet. I think if anybody has a right to bring up the ass grabbing, it's Jasmine. It shouldn't be Janet. Janet should not be weaponizing Jasmine's scary experience with her friend's husband for her own personal gain. Like, that's not Janet's experience to exploit like that. So that's really icky that she does that. Like, Danny apologized to Jasmine and Melissa. It seems like they're good for now. So Janet has no reason to be bringing this up. It's not her place. So then the scene ends and everyone a couple days later meets up at the park for a field day. I'm not gonna lie, the scene was kind of a snooze fest. It really felt like they were trying to fill up time. I fast forwarded through the games. I don't care to watch these guys play games in a park. Sheena and Jenna are there, and Michelle in the confessional said ever since Jenna found out I'm with Aaron, she's been wanting to hang out with my friends like all the time, which is very, I feel like I need to understand the timeline. Like, when did Jenna find out that Michelle is with Aaron? Because Michelle and Aaron have been together for like a really long time, right? Like a year at least. I'm not counting when they were not hooking up when Michelle was still married. And Jenna has really only shown up in like the last 2 or 3 episodes. So I feel like I need clarification on a timeline. Although I will say Jenna does like seem like that type. I'm not gonna lie. There's something about her, especially I think also because she's friends with Sheena. There's something about her that gives like, I want to be on this show. Like, I want to be a Bravo celebrity. I want to be involved in all of this. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from her. Brittany and Jax are there. They basically have no interaction whatsoever. In the confessional, Brittany says that Jax texted her after he got the divorce papers, and he goes, I didn't expect it, but I understand why you did it. Yeah, he didn't expect it because he thought that he would be able to manipulate Brittany into paying off the mortgage and paying for his entire lifestyle until they die. And he's surprised that Brittany isn't falling for that anymore. Luke picks up the $14,000 engagement ring from Kyle Chan, and he says he has to make it quick because Kristen is tracking his location. Girl, Kristen seems like the type. I will say that. She seems like the type where, like, if Luke is gone for any certain period of time and she just she's checking it. You know what I mean? She's checking on her Sims. I bet she also has a shit ton of her friends' locations and she's also checking those out as well. She just seems like the type. That's all I'll say. And then, okay, this was like crazy. They kind of do like just quick little cuts of everybody packing for Hawaii. And Nia and Danny are talking in their house. And Nia's like, you know what? Janet is going to say whatever she's going to say in Hawaii. And prayerfully, it won't trigger me. I saw that. And you know, I haven't really spoken a lot about like Nia and Danny's like Christianity. Like I feel like everybody knows like they're super, super Christian. Like it's like very, very obvious. I have never in my life heard, I have Christian friends too, okay? I have very devoutly religious friends. I have never in my life heard someone say prayerfully, this won't happen. I saw that and I was like, wow, like that is just different. That is just a different type of person. I saw that and I was like, damn, like they are really like, they are just so religious. It's interesting. You don't see that a lot on Bravo. That's just it. It's like new for me. Jax is waiting at a restaurant for Brittany and he calls her and he asks her where she is and she says she's not coming.
I'm not gonna come.
You're not?
No.
Why not?
I woke up to a flood of DMs and stuff talking about you last night, how drunk you were at the bar, how you were with girls.
I wasn't drunk at all. I went home early.
I had people all in my DMs saying how bad he was the night before, how he was with all these girls, parading these girls around, and it was just like, I'm just not ready for this. And I wanted him to be sitting his ass there waiting on me because he deserved that.
Jax in the after show denies all of this, of course, but then in the confessional, he goes, well, what I do on my own time is my own business. I fully believe Brittany. I'm like, sure. Because also in the after show, I think like Lala and Janet were talking about how like literally in the days after he got out from the mental health facility, he was asking the guys if they want to go out for beers. Like I fully don't believe that Jax has stopped drinking at all. And even he says, he's like, no, I can still drink. I just can't do drugs. So, you know, Brittany starts telling him off like, you're a terrible person. You're a vile human being. You put me in a terrible situation. And Jax just hangs up on her. And then in the confessional, he says that was a nightmare and it was so embarrassing. As if like Jax hasn't embarrassed Brittany in public countless times. Give me a break. You've been embarrassing Britney since you got with her like 10 years ago. It's just so crazy the way he expects everybody to just drink the Kool-Aid when it comes to him. He thinks that everybody worships him. So then they go to Hawaii. Normally Bravo kind of takes us along on their little travel day, but we don't really see it. They just land in Hawaii. They're in the Sprinter van going to the hotel. And then once they're all like settled, Jason and Danny summon Nia and Janet in the pool because they want to see if they can bury the hatchet. And I'm sorry, this was so good. Even though Nia gets on my nerves, this was so good. Nia, she puts down her drink when Janet shows up. She's like ready. She puts the drink down. She has access to both hands. And Janet apologizes for yelling at Nia. She goes, I had a little too much to drink. And Nia goes, that early in the night? Woo! That was good. I'm sorry, that was good. I was like, you know what? Here's the thing about Christian women. They know how to so snidely and so subtly read you for filth. So I did love that. That was pretty good. Jesse is still hung up on Aaron. God, it's so embarrassing for him. It's so embarrassing. Now he says in the confessional that he's pissed that Aaron didn't try to contact him when he started dating Michelle, since he and Michelle were still legally married. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not divorced. I've never been married. I don't have friends who have been like divorced and started dating someone else. But I don't think that it's a thing that like when your ex-wife starts dating someone new, even if you're still legally married, that the new boyfriend has to call Jesse and ask for his blessing? Is that a thing? Like your new boyfriend has to call your ex-husband and be like, hey man, I'm dating your ex-wife. Is that okay? That's not a thing. That's like so egotistical that he assumes that Aaron should have had to do that. And it also just shows that like he still thinks he has ownership over Michelle. You know what I mean? Like, why does another man have to call you for permission to date your ex-wife? That is like, I don't like that. This was so funny. Luke is so nervous about the proposal that he's making Kristen think that he's mad at her. It's so funny. They're like in the cabana and he's like not talking to her. And Kristen's like asking him like questions like, oh, do you want to have a snack? Do you want to do this? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like not making eye contact. He's like muttering. He just like walks away and poor Kristen, she's sitting there like, did I do something? Like she's like scared. It was honestly so sad, but it was so funny. So then the episode ends with a montage of Jesse talking to people about why he thinks Michelle cheated on him with Aaron. You know what Jesse's like with this whole situation? Have you ever seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Charlie Day has like the whole board of like the detective style board with all the red lines and he's going crazy like pointing to it? That is Jesse trying to figure out if Michelle cheated on him with Aaron. It's giving the same energy. And then, I did not like this. They're like all sitting down to dinner and Michelle and Aaron are kind of at the end of the table and then Aaron holds Michelle's hands like this across the table and he goes, I want to eat, drink, and love you properly. Oh my God, I hated that. I hated seeing that. That was so disgusting. I was like, oh my God, like I had to look away. It was so gross. And that pisses Jesse off. And it's so funny because it's like I would be pissed off too, not even because I feel like I still own Michelle, but literally just because that was gross. I don't want to see that. Ew, I hated that. That was just so like corny and weird. I don't know, I hated that. So then they show a sneak peek for the next episode of 2 hours later when Jesse asks Aaron if he ever crossed a line with Michelle. This showdown is a long time coming, for sure. I'm glad. It's like, I fucking hope that whatever happens next episode, I don't care if it's a disaster, I don't care if there's yelling and screaming and fighting, I need this to end between Jesse and Aaron. I need this to end because we have been talking about this for so long and I'm so over it. And I need Jesse to get over it. It's so pathetic. Like, it's over. You're divorced. Whatever Michelle did with Aaron, whether or not you were still married, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you will still be divorced. There is no winning in this situation. Like, he wants to win so badly, and he thinks if he can find proof that Michelle cheated on him with Aaron, it means that he wins. You did not win. Honestly, neither of you won. This is such a shitty situation, and both of them kind of suck. And it's just like get over it. Like, it's so pathetic that he's still hung up on this. There's no preview for the next episode, so I'm really excited. I have a feeling, if I had to guess, we're just gonna start right where we left off next episode, and we are going to start at that dinner table with Jesse and Aaron and everybody else. I'm so excited. I think this Hawaii trip is gonna be really good. I think a lot's gonna go down. Keep an eye out. I am going to be posting my recap of The Real Housewives of Miami Season 7, Episode 3. That's gonna come in the next day or two. And I have also been recapping Love Island on Shorts, so make sure you check those out if you haven't seen that as well. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.